Hello, Quesnel, and welcome to Q Today. I'm Allison Duddy.
And I'm Nate Bello, and this is our show for October the 2nd, 2012.
Coming up on today's show from The Observer, Ken Price found not guilty in ongoing trial, and also one of the Highway of Tears murders has been linked to a U.S. man.
And there's an exciting forum coming up, a community forum on air quality, and we'll tell you about that. And Bert DeVink talks with Sean Beckett, and he is a local hero. More to come.
Thanks, Nate. Okay, so here at Q Today, we bring you the recent news provided by our partnership with the Quesnel Caribou Observer and a little bit of our own commentary.
Yeah, we have our own stories, and they're based on our field crews out there and you. If you have a good story, let us know. We'd love to put it on the air. You could video to us. Remember, everything that you think is important, we think is important.
All right, so moving on to the news, remember we do just give the highlights here. So if you want to read the full details, get your copy of the Quesnel Caribou Observer. And now over to Nate here for some news.
Okay, our top story, Ken Price was found not guilty of both second-degree murder and manslaughter last week. He was charged with second-degree murder after an incident in July of 2009 at those brown cabins on Lewis Drive. In Friday's Observer, Autumn McDonald continued her coverage of the trial with Price's testimony. Price testified that Albert Boyven had him by the throat, and when both men went for a knife, saying, "I thought I was a dead man. I thought he was going to kill me." Price also testified that he didn't remember being read his rights or being informed that he was arrested for murder. And he also he didn't remember any statements that he made in the back of the RCMP truck the night of the incident. He says, "I was in shock. I had just killed a man." The defense also covered Price's injuries, which were not photographed, despite Price's testimony that he asked quite a few times to have them photoed. The jury commenced deliberations on Wednesday afternoon and came back with their verdict Thursday at 11:30 a.m.
Wow, thanks, Nate. Now, also out of Friday's Observer from the Black Press, a dead U.S. inmate has been named by RCMP as the murderer of one of the 18 young women in BC's Highway of Tears probe. Bobby Jack Fowler died in an Oregon prison in 2006, but his DNA was linked this year to evidence from the killing of 16-year-old Colleen McMillan while she was hitchhiking near Lac La Hache in 1974. Fowler is also a very strong suspect in the killings of Gail Weiss near Clearwater in 1973 and Pamela Darlington that same year in Kamloops. And he so far has been ruled out as a suspect in 8 of the 18 Highway of Tears cases. Now, RCMP have what they call an incomplete timeline for Fowler's movements in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s. But they want the public's help in identifying where else he might have been during that time. Anyone who knew this man, Bobby Jack Fowler, during those years, people who socialized, people who worked with him or traveled with him, are strongly urged to call the RCMP at this number that we're going to put below, 1-877-543-4822.
Okay, our independent MLA, Bob Simpson, has been posting his expenses online. In an article in Friday's Observer, Simpson said, out of respect for the taxpayer, he believes it's important for all MLAs to be open about expenses sooner rather than later. He also suggests that without systems in place to ensure full MLA transparency in terms of their spending, public cynicism toward politics will only grow. Simpson noted that there are other MLAs who are also taking measures to disclose their expenses publicly. Some of them are not. In the absence of any clear disclosure policy from the Legislative Assembly Management Committee, he hopes he can't be sure that all the MLAs will really put forth exactly what they spend so that the public can know. Our province is facing many serious social, economic, and environmental challenges, and unpublished expenses are, frankly, an unnecessary distraction, Simpson said. You know, I just want to,
So true.
that's, it's funny, you know, this is about a provincial issue, but it kind of has parallels at the municipal front. And you know, right now there's an issue of transparency in terms of expenses. But on one hand, one side is saying, oh, we need it more and more transparency. The other side is saying, what do you mean? We've told you everything. We've developed new policies. You know, when is this story, Allison, going to go away so that we can deal with the important issues facing our municipality?
Exactly.
You know, enough of this high school politics, I say.
And I think that's the point that Mr. Simpson made as well. You know, we need to focus on the important stuff. This little bickering back and forth is just so unnecessary.
Exactly.
So. All right, well, moving on into sports, Jonas Gagnon, our local sports reporter, did a story recently on local hockey player Shelby Ballantyne. Now, Shelby's heading to a town in Sweden about 300 kilometers northwest of Stockholm called Leksand, and she'll be playing for the Leksand IF team. This is a women's international team. Ballantyne, she's a forward, and she's only one of 2 international players that will be playing on the team. And this is the highest league for women in Sweden, so huge accomplishment for Shelby.
Wow.
And of course,
Great.
here at Q Today, we wish her the best of luck, and we can't wait to hear all about it when she gets back next summer.
Right. Sounds good. Maybe we'll even hear about it during the time. If we get good on the internet, we'll find it. Okay?
We probably could.
All right, we'll try.
Sounds good.
Okay, the QJS Spartan track team had pretty good meets in Prince George recently, one at DP Todd and the other one at Cottonwood Island High School. The Bantam girls and boys team finished the cross-country runs with racers peppered throughout the top finishers in various classes. Congrats, you QJS Spartans.
You bet. And wrapping up sports, we have this great photo of sports reporter Jonas Gagnon as he sits in the driver's seat of Terry Bremen's number 52 mini stock at the QARA track. Gagnon said now that the season is over, he was allowed to endanger the life of a car since a whole winter season lays ahead to repair prior to the next race. He said he did have one scary incident when he came into corner 3 a little hot, too hard on the brakes, resulting in a bit of, quote, not so spectacular looking sideways driving. So enjoy that pic.
Yeah, Jonas, you know, he also covered the golf tournament last month that Big Brothers had, and I was talking to him about it. I said, do you like sports? He says, I do now. It's quite ironic because he doesn't really have a sports background.
Oh, yeah?
But it looks like he's getting right into it, eh?
That's good. Well, he's a good sport about it all.
Yeah, he's a good sport, okay. And now for a special forum that's coming up on October the 12th at 11:45 in Council Chambers. The Quesnel Community and Economic Development Corporation and the Quesnel Air Quality Roundtable are joining together to welcome Dr. Sarah Henderson to Quesnel to speak on air quality and its impact on economic development. Dr. Sarah she is an environmental engineer, and she turned to become an environmental epidemiologist. So what's an epidemiologist?
Well, Nate, I just happen to know that an epidemiologist is someone who studies health in humans, which I didn't know before this show. I will admit.
Oh, you don't have to admit that. But she has research interests. She lie in the intersection of health and environmental exposures. But what she's going to be talking about is economic development and how air quality really would impact on that. So Peter Walsh has recently been made chair of the Quesnel Air Quality Roundtable, and Tracy Bond works with him. And so what I thought is that we would contact them, and I already did contact him, and we'll do a little bit of an interview, and we'll cover the event on October 12th, and then come back and talk about air quality and economic development.
That sounds fantastic, Nate. Thanks for that. So earlier last month, I guess September the 7th, Sean Beckett walked out of his house on Vaughan Street and saw the home of his neighbor, Joan Huxley, across the street was on fire. He ran over and entered the burning house. He found Mrs. Huxley still inside and got her out to safety. Apparently there was some radio newscasts around town. He was called a local hero, which After you see this interview, I think you will agree he is. So next up, we've got Bert DeVink interviewing Sean Beckett on his take on the events of September the 7th. Let's take a look.
Hello, my name is Bert DeVink. With me is Sean Beckett, and we're going to have a very interesting story here. Sean and I met, oh God, when you were 4 or 5 years old,
4.
Sean?
Yeah.
Holy. And so our families were friends together for a long time, and we moved all over the place. And the weird part is that I was in Brentwood Bay, where it all started, right, Sean?
Basically where I was born.
You remember that?
The old,
And Judy, my wife, phoned me and said there was a house on fire, and Sean pulled out the lady who lived there, an older lady, right?
Joan Huxley.
Yeah, Joan Huxley. And I know Joan Huxley because I played with Joan Huxley in the Windy Reeds. So it's a whole interconnected
It's
thing.
a small world.
Yeah, it is, eh? Yeah, can you remember the prairies?
Oh, like it was yesterday.
We went to the prairies. Oh my God, what an experience that was, eh?
You guys worked so much there.
Oh yeah, I know. We lived in the same house, 2 families in the same house. Of course, there was an immense housing shortage. It was crazy. We moved back, and then we moved from the prairies to...
You guys?
No, to Williams Lake.
Yeah.
Williams Lake. The families moved to Williams Lake. From Williams Lake, we moved to Wells.
That's right. You guys moved out to Bowern, and we were, I think, a year behind you.
Yeah,
Wells.
that's right. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, so yeah, that's we are very closely.
A little bit of history there.
Yeah,
Bert's pretty much like my dad.
Yeah, well, we grew up. You grew up to, you know, from a little kid. Well, Sean, what I was wondering, how did that thing happening in?
You know, it was just a fortunate series of events for Jonah and I. I mean, I was just out back getting some air on my back patio at about 10:30 that evening, and I noticed a smoke plume off in the distance, and by the colors and the speed of the smoke rising, I quickly realized from former firefighting experience that there was obviously some heat under that fire, so I didn't hesitate. I had my friend Chad Chesley dial 911 instantly.
Oh yeah.
Just not to take a chance, and I headed across a couple alleys and over a few fences when I realized that it was a house fire. So nobody was present when I arrived. So I went in and I alerted. There was a member in the basement, a young fellow who didn't seem to know what was going on. He came out to look. By then the flames were 15, 20 feet up. So he got out of the basement suite and had asked me had I gotten Joan Huxley out of the upstairs unit. And he mentioned she was 88, so I started to panic, thinking she would probably not have made it down the back steps, or maybe she was out front, or worse yet, in bed where the flames were starting to engulf that window. And so I didn't hesitate. Chad went upstairs, and we opened the door, and there she was. So
was she unconscious?
She was standing there, kind of alerted by the noise, because I was screaming at the top of my lungs like I've never screamed before. And,
I know you can scream.
It was scary. I was scared for her, myself, Chad, the young fellow that was in the basement suite, and obviously surrounding people. There was by then some explosions going off in the shed where it had originated. And I looked over and I realized we just didn't have enough time to go back in. She wanted her purse and her passport, and I demanded some attention from her, and I just actually scooped her right over my shoulders and packed her out to the alley. And thank God, I guess it wasn't 2 minutes after that the place was engulfed. Wow. And it was a good 15 minutes before the fire department arrived, so I'm not sure if anybody would have actually gotten her out, or the young fellow down below. I don't see it as a heroic act, I just acted.
That's an amazing
It was exciting
story,
but
Sean.
scary, and I guess she's alive because of me. I don't know. Maybe someone else might have gotten her in time. I don't know. There wasn't a lot of time, so.
No.
I guess I am kind of a bit of a hero. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I heard. But
that's what I've been hearing anyway. That's what's going around town. So. I was waiting for a key to the city here.
Well, you've never been a guy who didn't do things when they needed to be done, as far as I know.
No. I do own my own business.
I'm pretty proud of you, Sean.
Well,
I
thanks,
am.
Bert.
I really am.
Like I said, I don't see it an act out of, I guess it's just an act of courage, I suppose.
Well,
It's funny because in the instant I felt really crisp-minded. Everything was sort of surreal, if you will, and it just happened so fast. And
well, as you know, in my life, I've been in a lot of pretty hefty situations as well. And what I would like to know, when you saw the thing, did you have any fear in yourself? Oh my God, you know, I could be hurt pretty bad? Or
well, with a quick assessment of the fire, I knew there was a little bit of time. So, I mean, it wasn't like the flames were licking our butts or anything, but there was only a couple of minutes maybe.
Wow.
And then it just burst into flames, and yeah, it sure doesn't take long. So, but I don't know, a message to people: if you feel something's wrong, it probably is. So, don't hesitate. You know, act, phone someone.
Yeah. Wow.
It happened in the shoe swap as well. I was down there for a summer holiday, and I noticed a fairly overweight man out past the ropes, clawing at his son. And by the time everyone had asked everybody if he was drowning, I'd already gone out there. So, within my family, I'm this big. This is like a few lives now. So, you know, I'm starting to think I'm messing with people's final destination here.
Yeah.
But I was just happy to be there, and I was just happy for Joan to have her life and that everybody was safe. And
Yeah, because, you know, I know Joan very well, because Joan and I have played for what, about, at least 7-8 years in the Windy Reeds. And she's a very, very nice old lady. God, you know, she's a smile as big as the sky. Very active in community things and stuff like that. A very nice lady.
This is what I heard, yeah.
Yeah. So it was a real big, but you know, what I'm saying, the coincidence of things, you know, we're Brentwood Bay, and then all over the world, and then all of a sudden I am in Brentwood Bay, and I hear of Sean. Holy mother, you know, this is really strange. Yeah?
Well, that's right. I mean, it is a small world, and it's funny how we get connected and, you know, interactions. It's like a movie I once watched called Crash. I mean, it comes full circle, and I believe in karma, and, you know,
you know, Sean,
I try to do good. And
I'm really sad to see you go out of this town.
I am moving to Kelowna and taking my business, Beckett's Home Improvements, with me. I started 5 years ago, and I just enjoy that, and it's taught me a lot as well. So
I'm gonna miss you.
Yeah, I'll miss you guys too. I'll miss the Caribou, and the people here are just fantastic. I've been here for 30 years. I don't know what to say.
Okay.
It's been a great place, and I appreciate everyone's support. Just a quick thank you to my customers who made my business able to grow.
Well, as a long-time family friend, I'm very, very proud of you.
I thank you very much, Bert. And like I say,
that's fantastic. Thank you very much.
And now from the archives, here is a condensed interview between Doreen LaMarche and local author Lynn White.
With Lynn White. She's written and published 2 novels, Strength of an Eagle and Half-Truths, Total Lies. Welcome, Lynn.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here with us. So how long have you been writing?
Well, I would say probably about 2 years now. Yeah, was very sudden, and it consumes my life now.
So tell me a little bit about what you came from before you became a writer.
Oh, I've been a teacher for several years. Too many, actually, but yes.
What is the genre of your novels?
They're suspense thrillers. They're,
Suspense
not something
thrillers.
you'd think a teacher would write.
Really? So it was I did read something in on your web page about 180.
Oh yes, for years, well, for 30 odd years, I was a kindergarten grade 1 teacher, and turned around to become a suspense thriller writer. It's very different.
I would say. So why do you think that local readers would be interested in the novels that you've written?
Well, primarily they are suspense thrillers, but they do touch on problems that we have in the North. The Highway of Tears was a big inspiration for The Strength of an Eagle, and the drug problems we have in the North. That was the impetus for The Strength of an Eagle. And then Half Truths and Total Lies is a story based in a northern rural school, and deals with prejudices that people have in society against, well, accused child molesters, gamblers, alcoholics, and homosexuals.
Right. So it really touches, they both really touch on some social responsibility issues that we actually are pertinent to us.
True.
Okay,
Yes.
excellent. That sounds wonderful. And did you want to just hold up this picture? I'm not sure how well it'll show up on the camera, but so this actually, tell us when you saw this, what happened.
Well, we were
for you?
driving to Prince Rupert and came across this sign on the highway. It says, "Girls don't hitchhike on this highway of tears, killer on the loose." And it's, of course, in direct reference to the Highway of Tears killings. And a chill went down my spine and went, oh my God, you know. And then we went on our kayaking tour on a mothership, and the captain is just a phenomenal storyteller. And I said, well, you know, has there anybody ever been smuggling drugs in this area? Have you ever come across anything? And he would tell different stories. And so a lot of those stories have a little germ in Strength of an Eagle.
So they were inspiring to you for Strength of an Eagle.
You know, why hasn't this person been caught? And things like that. And then for Half Truths and Total Lies, I just grabbed every story I could imagine from my past and from stories that my sister has told me. I interviewed several people for that one.
Did you? Yeah. Was that an interesting process for you? Did you feel like you were really making discoveries? And
when I was interviewing the individuals, yes. One in particular individual was very gracious, very good with his story.
Generous with it.
Yes, and gave me a background that I would not have been able to get without that interview.
Right. Well, that's wonderful. So do you think that the process of your research has helped you connect with people in a different way?
Oh, yes, and the fact of writing these books has helped me connect with people too.
Yeah.
Their reactions and...
Sure, from your readers. Yeah, connections with your readers. That's a treasure.
Oh,
That's a treasure.
it is, and you know, writing is an isolated task, and only until you've got your book out there can you judge what it really is like.
Right. So do you think that there's much of yourself in your characters? Is there a...
I consider myself a very strong woman, very strong. And in Strength of an Eagle, Maya is a very strong woman. In Half Truths and Total Lies, you've got the victims, Anne and Betsy. But although you're frustrated with them, you think, like, why don't you just, you know, deal with it? They have their own strengths, and so it's really, yeah, that's about the only part that's me.
But that's a pretty big part, to be able to implement strong female characters because of your own strength and your own experience in life. I think that's a real gift to your readers.
Yeah.
And nice to hear that you have strong female characters in your book.
Well, yes. All the characters are pretty strong in my books. I do, if I do say so myself, my characters are strong.
Good.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me about the locations where your books take place. Are they real? Which part of that is fact and which is fiction?
Well, I think it's a combination. You know, the places are real, but they're composite places. They're not, this is Prince Rupert or this is Prince George or whatever. It's a whole composite there. The rural school is a composite of several rural schools that I've taught in or have been in. Yes.
So you took a little bit of each of them and created a place. So
the locations are fictional, but the environment is real.
Excellent. That's a good way of explaining it. So tell me how your readers can purchase your books.
Oh, they're available for purchase everywhere, from my website, from online sources, from bookstores, just about wherever you can purchase a book.
Excellent. So tell me, what's next, do you think?
I'm trying to decide. I have 3 books in mind. They're all very different, and right now I'm just trying to decide.
Right, right. Do you want to share with us, I know you've done a bit of traveling, how that has affected you in your writing?
Well, not necessarily the places I've been, although I've explored a lot of Canada, and both books are based in Canada. But the people you meet when you travel, there's a story behind absolutely everybody.
How exciting for you to get to travel and see parts of the country that your writing is based in, and then share those characters with, or the tidbits that I'm sure you acquire as you go through your writing. Thank you so much, Lynn, for being here with us.
Well, thank you.
And her novels are Strength of an Eagle and Half Truths and Total Lies.
Now let's take a look at this week's community calendar.
All right, well, it's time for one of my personal favorite segments of the show, Sutton's Shutters. Dave was out in the community last weekend. He took photos at a couple of different events. Take a look at these photos of Les Dewalski playing at the Farmers Market, and also a few from the Crooners Cafe. Of course, thanks to Dave, as always, for sending in those photos to us.
Before we close, a little news from the Quesnel Lions Club. They had a very successful garage sale last Saturday, and their next garage sale will be October the 27th. And they have a new event, Support the Lions 5-Minute Shopping Spree raffle at Save On Foods. Wouldn't you like to just walk around the store and just picking out things and bring a lot of free food home?
That would be awesome.
Yes, well, tickets are $5 with first prize is a 5-minute shopping spree, and second prize is a 3-minute shopping spree. So buy your tickets.
I'd go straight for the meat. That's what I do.
I think they always have rules about that. I've always seen those things. They have rules.
Yeah, maybe you have to move around.
Yeah,
or,
I don't. But anyway,
but still, it's a good deal.
Great. Yeah, good luck, Lions. Just coming up in the next few shows, Charlene is going to go around starting a series talking to different social agencies in our community. She's going to go to MATA. I think she's going to go to Women's Resource Center, the shelter, and just talk. We'll have a series of shows on these different organizations and how they help the community.
That sounds fantastic. All right, we want to hear from you with your videos, which will air on our program here on Shaw TV and on social media. We also want to hear your comments on the show. How are we doing here at Q Today? Remember,
Q Today is about Quesnel talking to Quesnel.